I want to wait just a couple minutes so that everybody can get on. We are going live. I'm going to try to go live for you guys for the next 6 months every single day, trying to hold myself as accountable as I can to this. But today's topic is going to be quite abrasive, quite assertive, because we're living in a world where we're listening to everyone else. The only person's opinion that should matter in this world is your own. And I want you guys to really dig your heels into this, because we are so conditioned to look to other people for approval. And my entire life was based off of the fact that I had to stand up for myself in really, really tough situations where I had to back myself when nothing made sense. And that is where you're going to find your genius. You're going to find your genius in the moments where nothing is making sense externally, but you know internally what is true for you, what is going on, what is made for you. So with that being said, we can look to a friend, we can look to our family. Do they have the life that you would like? With you being a very unique person, a very unique soul, coming to this world to do something really unique and amazing, is that who you're going to look to for advice? It kind of goes off of that, like, don't just give advice out because that person probably isn't looking for it. We do have to understand the reflective components of this, but as far as like you creating your own situation over here, other people are just noise. You came here to create something that was from your heart, that was very unique, very ideal for you, for how you were built, for your heritage, for your, I almost said length, for your height, for your personality. All of these things were made for you, very identical, or very individual for you, so that you could push your potentials forward. It wasn't for anybody else, and so it's not going to make sense to anybody else. And I want you guys to understand that for the longest time, my problem was I always thought that since I found safety around my family, because when you're little, you go to look to somebody for approval, validation. You want somebody to be like proud of you. And so growing up, being very competitive and having people show up to my competitions and my recitals and all of these things, I looked so much for approval within other people. But when it came down to what my soul came here to express, what my authentic self came here to express, that doesn't make sense to anybody except for the people that it's meant to touch, which is not my family. And so that's really like counterintuitive to what we were taught of, like, make mom and dad proud. It's probably going to trigger everything within mom and dad. It is going to trigger them to their core. They won't be able to handle it because you're going against something that was ingrained in you by them. And so how I've had this show up in my life was everything that I grew up with was kind of the inversion of what I'm here to create, right? I didn't have a solid family unit. I had a lot of doubt and worry and fear around all of these beliefs because of where I came from. Like my parental figures were not solid. So I had to create stability from somehow, but it went against them. And so when you get into this broader way of thinking, you have to kind of, in the back seat of your mind, be like, are they what I want to become? If not, and there's going to be guilt involved, okay? So I felt massively guilty for just up and leaving, but I understand that my potentials don't lie with somebody else in my ear telling me their own limitation. So with that being said, you're going to feel this heaviness of like, I feel like I'm losing something, but with intuition and with understanding universal laws, you always have everything all the time, always. Every attribute you want from a person, it's here with you. You just have to find it. So let's say you wanted somebody to be proud of you. You wanted somebody to appreciate you growing up, and you never got that. So you chased that for your entire life. You just chased approval. It's not the approval that you want. It is the approval of doing something for yourself and feeling appreciated by yourself. That way other people can mirror it toward you. We talk about this electromagnetic field quite often. So when I'm talking to you guys about creating something that's unique to you, it's not going to make sense to other people. And all the beliefs that you gained when you were little cannot come with you to this new heightened version of yourself, because it's going to unravel a lot of chaos. So many people and so many families hide so many things under a rug so that we don't have to look at it. What's the most uncomfortable thing? Looking at that thing under the rug, which they don't want to do that, right? So seeing you moving and shaking and doing things will trigger them to their core. Are you going to ride that train with them? And there is a balanced way of coming about this, but in my case, it is best for me, in order to push my potentials, to surround myself with people who actually thrive around me and like want to be around me rather than nitpick me, right? So we can choose to be around people who are going to nitpick us or condemn us or keep us small, or we can decide to shift who we are. We can decide that who this new version of me is wildly acceptable because I decided this, because to my core I know is true. But it's going to force them to look at things they don't want to look at. And that can be wildly uncomfortable because they're looking at an image of themselves they themselves don't want to look at. And so they'll project all of this stuff onto you. So it does come down to self-image and self-love. Am I going to place myself around somebody who doesn't get the vision? That might be helpful because if you want to grow really fast, that person will pick apart everything that doesn't work. Well, that's helpful because now I can just like rearrange it and create what I want. For me, my entire upbringing was what I didn't want. So, I mean, there's so much that can be picked apart from my childhood that I can bring into my adulthood and reconnect those things in a higher frequency way. But I don't have to go back. Technically, how we should be looking at our past, like our upbringing, it was a past life. That was how you were before. When we shift and change, and this is something that we can look at on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, who am I trying to become right now? Who do I think is going to push my potentials forward? Meaning, if I was made on earth and my higher self and source, God, thought that I was perfectly made to help this amount of people, then I must not be really not perfect. My decisions must be pretty good. Because if I was made from something that was bigger than me, and I know the collective will say, that's egotistical. But when I see myself as complete, other people see me as complete. And then I can help more people. You help more people when you see your own brilliance. And this is where a lot of your family will be like, oh, they're just this way. Oh my God, now you're this person. And they'll make a little scene about it. It's in order to help as many people as I came here to help on this earth with my unique skills that only I can bring through, I have to be a little bit more forceful in my approach. I have to be a little bit more assertive. I have to be a little bit more in your face with the ugliness, because that is the only way that we are going to get to these higher frequency states where we're not seeing all of this competition, this comparison. And through this, we're able to then create a really, really cool situation. But if we're still sticking with, I'm going to stay with this and stay small, who is benefiting from that? Are you benefiting from that? Or is somebody else benefiting from that? So for the longest time, I was my family's healer, right? And I was working pretty much with my family to heal them. But that never worked, and it never paid me. And And once it went from my family, it went to friends. Well, my friends never paid me. And I felt wildly not valuable because nobody was paying me for this. And who am I to charge money for the thing that comes naturally to me? But it's like, when you see value, when you have knowledge that maybe other people don't have, you have to place value on that, and you have to sit in rooms where people are actually going to value you. But you also have to know how to change somebody's life. And so that's just knowledge. That's just understanding. This is why we always value knowledge over quick money, right? I would rather know exactly how to make money than have a bunch of it and then it be gone soon. Like, you want to know the steps associated with it, but that's a whole nother topic. So when we stay stuck in these family dynamics and nothing's changing, and you see these people going in the same rabbit hole around and around, maybe it's a friendship, and they're not moving on their potentials, it's a great time to stand back, to reevaluate what you truly want. And what you want to do is help people, but they need to be valuing your information as well. They need to want that change. They need to want a better life. And that's not something that you can force onto somebody. That is something that you can only time's gonna tell. But you can't force somebody into a change. They have to see you moving and shaking and then want better for themselves. So mind you, like, here I am, 10 years in the making of this, but I wanted something different. I wanted my life to become better. And so I had to stand up for myself, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. So I decided I cannot stay around these people and want bigger. Because even when I create something now, there is still people undermining what I did. Kind of like oh, so now you're this way. It's just a weird reflection that they're looking at, but when people can't handle the truth, they would rather negate it and like be weird about it. So I don't want you guys to feel alone in the journey of wanting a bigger life, because the things in your past cannot come with you. That's going to be very heavy baggage transported with you. You're going to have to pay lots of fees for that baggage. And you're going to stifle your potentials. You're going to siphon the potentials down. Stifle is what I meant. Stifle your potentials. Is that the word? Stifle. You're going to hurt your potentials. When you decide, sometimes the best thing in life is like just relocating. Because when you're around the same people with the same belief systems, nothing about you changes. And you're very programmed by your environment. So you shifting and moving and changing a lot is actually wildly beneficial and more profitable just overall. But intuitively looking in, like, let's say you're really, really talented in this lifetime with communication. If you're moving into different areas or different countries, you're learning all of these different variables on how to communicate, whether it's a language, whether it's how people express themselves differently in different countries. Maybe your potential is in communication and you were meant to be some kind of big authority figure to a collective of people. But now, since you're just staying in your hometown and you're around the same people all the time with the same opinions, you're not gaining those potentials. Do you see what I'm saying? And so you moving is sometimes the most valuable, most profitable, because you're seeing where you're off in your approach and building onto it. It's a challenge. You're becoming better. You're inspiring. Corey is saying, it's hard though. Nothing in life that's worth it is going to be easy. Talk about hard. I've had bullets go a foot from my head in apartments. I've had my car repossessed, and I've been all kinds of flipped all over the place. But the best things in life come with pressure. you don't get to have one side of the story. You get to see the spectrum. If, like, when you're going through an up level financially, if you haven't hit your rock bottom, where you can't, first of all, we don't want that. We don't want the overnight success. You don't know how you made it. You can't recreate it. Second of all, we appreciate things more when we have to earn it. You have to earn the right to certain things. And so when we earn certain things, there's a level of power that comes with that, and there's a level of understanding of how potent it is. So I've lost everything and gained everything back, like within 12 months. So it was wildly worth it for me to go through certain things, although painful in the moment, wildly painful in the moment. I now know the steps it took to get there, therefore I don't have to recreate that thing. So what I'm saying is we don't ever gain or lose anything. Gain and loss is just a state of being. I know that sounds a little whimsical, but it is the truth. And we came here to create something wildly unique to us. And the things that you grew up around cannot come with you. It will not work. Because those people, those environments, have your mind programmed to think a certain way. You should not spend this much money. You should save this much money. La, 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 la. We never look to anything external to validate who we are or what we're doing. And this is where self-image comes in. There is just things that I don't talk about because I don't want other people's opinions on it. For example, if I grow, if I was to create something wildly unique to me, and this thing was wildly special to me, I might not want to share it with the world because it was the one thing that I got to have, right? And so through all of this building and reconstructing and taking the hard route, it is the right route. The hard route is the right route. But taking the hard route and constantly pushing your potentials forward, you're going to have to leave a lot of the things in the past, and it's not going to work for you. So I had so much like just traumatic experiences with listening to somebody who wanted to live vicariously through me, but that was not the life that was made for me. And it felt empty. So I had a very nice, luxurious apartment, but it felt empty every single time I walked into it. There was nothing there. And so what we want is to feel so complete in understanding that we get to create this life. We get to have all of these amazing things, but it doesn't have to come at the cost of other people's opinions. Other people's opinions are just for them. And it's just it's a mirror for them to inwardly look. I've had people say a lot of things, talk about a lot of things around me, but it had nothing to do with me. Mind you, I was still a part of that reflection because had that thing not happened or if I'm not hearing it, then it's not a part of me. But if I'm hearing it, it's a part of me. So I'm still having to investigate what I was doing there. But with you guys understanding that you are bigger than your family's dreams and desires. You are bigger than what your family has created. And you might have to drop some aspects like that in order to get to those new levels. I'm not saying like just drop your wife and kids, but like what I am saying is the people in your past who raised you, they want the best for you. I'm sure there's a part of them that does. But if they loved themselves enough, they would push their potentials, right? And they didn't. That's just a majority of the collective right now. If they truly loved themselves and wanted the best for you, first of all, they would have done a lot more for themselves to create a better life for you, but they didn't. Second of all, they would understand that their life is important and they wouldn't have to butt into yours. So, with that being said, I know this is like a very tough love video and I don't necessarily know what I'm going to call it, but I want you guys to be like a very individual person with goals and aspirations and attributes that you came here to bring to this world. And through intuition, we have all of these means that we can shift and do all of these cool things with. But if we're just going to keep ourselves small in our potentials because we're trying to comfort somebody around us, our life is going to reflect that. But my phone is going to die, so I will talk to you guys tomorrow, and I'll come to you guys tomorrow with a new video. But that is today's video. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you later.